Right, fabulous folks. So hopefully, yes indeed, I believe this time we're there. So welcome along guys, and thank you so much for standing by me. Yeah. So we've finally got it working. I've put some logs on the technical burner, and hopefully this time we'll do it. Yeehaw! So vision okay, folks? A big thumbs up. Just let me know, and sound as well. We've got a bit of sound. We've got everything you need. Vision and sound. Right. So after rather a hectic running about, this is the third time tonight I've tried. So third time lucky. So thank you so much for dropping by this evening to our loose get together, our Patreon exclusive. So everybody's welcome to join in the live, and then after the live has finished tomorrow, it will be just placed on Patreon for my supporters on there. So you get a chance and enjoy yourselves, as I will as well. So what say we get started, guys? I won't go through the hellos individually because I think you've been here before. So if you are joining us afresh, this is absolutely no issues tonight, and we're ready to rumble. Yep, good, excellent. Right, okay, guys. So let us begin. Peter the Propelling Pencil is prepared to do his work this evening. Fabulous. Oh, Francis is online. We're all on the refreshment, so it's going to be even better. And as Jenny put it, everybody's going to be even looser than they were before. So here we go. Are you ready, guys? We're going to do the drawing for a start. So this is the twinkling candle. Okay. So let's go with a square for start. So we're going to start at the top left-hand bit of the square, which is just there. We're going to come down here. So we're looking about 20 centimeters. Yeah. And in old money, that's 20 centimeters. Yeah. I'm not sure what it is in inches. Maybe, I don't know. Quite a way. 20 centimeters anyway. So little dots there to get our square together. Yeah. Then we draw the lines and you hit the dots. Doing, doing. Got it. Then we go across. Doing, doing. Got it. Doing, doing. So we've got our little square. Quite nicely drawn, even if I say so myself. But the dots always guide you. They're a very useful way of creating your drawing. Excellent, Susan. Our mathematician this week is Susan Beecham, and 7.9 inches by 7.9 inches, 20 centimeters. Fabulous, Susan. How could I live without you, Susan? I do not know. Right, okay. So got the shape. Now fairly central, we're going to put our little candle. Now it's quite a wide candle, decent sized candle. And so we put a couple of dots. Yeah, one there, one there. Just those dots will give me the rough size for a start. I can sit back and say, is that about right? Dots down, so we're going for a long rectangle. Yeah. Just do the basic shape of the rectangle for a start. It's floating above the ground because I want to put the candle in a nest of holly leaves and little berries as well. So it's going to be just nestled in there. So top of the candle, I'm going to put a little triangle. Yeah, it's like a real big stubby pencil or a small rocket. Think of it that way. That's the outline shape. Now to shape it, this is melted wax. I'm going to flatten the top a bit and do a little wobble. Flatten the top, wobble. This is the top edge of the candle. It's not going to be straight because heat, what does it do? It cooks your food. Exactly. And also it melts a candle. So this top edge is going to be a bit wobbly. Yeah. So just a little wobbly line. Also, what else does a candle do? The candle wax dribbles down the side and makes these little splodgy marks. Yeah. So really there are just little bumps that go out on the side, and on the front edge we've got a few little droplets that sort of build up. Yeah. Top of the candle, what have we got? A flame. Yeah. So I'm going to take a line straight up, little dot, bring it down, but if you notice, these are the little things that make the difference really. the flame doesn't start where the candle is, it starts above it. Yeah, so there's a little gap, and then this is really a spearhead. Yeah, that's how I think of it. So it comes down and round and down and round. That is basically the shape. And again, you can make this V, because again, that's another thing. Tiny, tiny little nuances, but really do make a difference. So welcome guys, if you're joining us. Sorry for the late start this evening. I was out taking Toby for a walk, wasn't I, everybody? And Toby had a lovely walk, and we both couldn't see in the dark. It was so it took us a long while to get back. Candle top, candle itself. Yeah, so there we are, that's all it is. The actual holly leaves, all I really want to put, well, say holly leaves, Christmas leaves, I just want to think about what the overall shape is. So I want to nest them, yeah? So I'm going to bring it up here and here, and then just little shapes, really random shapes. What you think in appropriate size leaves for a candle. So if they're tiny, that means that's massive. If they're huge, that means that's small. So it's appropriate to whatever you've done so far. Little leaf shapes, yeah. Not a straight line, some go up, some go down. They're the leaves. Berries, well, let's have a few in there. And I'm only drawing a few because I'll put those in with the paint. It'll be fairly easy, just straightforward, drop the paint in. Job is a good one. Yep, so there's that. That's all I really need. I might put some suggestion of leaves here, just tapering in. But I'll drop those in as we do it, as opposed to draw them. Gives me far more freedom, but the little dots there, the little suggestions are little aide de memoire for later on. So I'll think, well, what was that? Yeah, let's drop that in, and that could work. Right, fabulous folks, you have been stars. Now then, I tell you what, in all the episodes I've done of this, I've not got a cup of tea. I drank it, in fact I had 2 cups of tea, because I've had 2 aborted missions, so I couldn't handle a 3rd cup. Do forgive me, but if you have got a cup of tea with you, or light refreshment, or wine, or whiskey, or everything, have a little sip. This is our little interlude while I show you the colours, the brushes, and anything else that may be of use. Right, colour palette. Guess what I've got this week? My similar palette. I'm going to purposely buy some other colours and just throw them about and see where I go. But these work for me. Lemon yellow we're going to use. There it is. Cad orange. There is a little bit of gold ochre that's put out. Whether I use that or not, don't think I will. Keep it straightforward. Royal blue, cobalt blue, ultramarine blue. I've got a bit of, well, it's purple, mauve, burnt umber, sepia, but I know I'll use purple, most likely use burnt umber. Don't want to go too deep with that. I've got a rose opera, cad red, and a alizarin crimson that's off screen there, hiding away, very shy. That's why it goes crimson all the time. We've got, now what have I got here? I've got sap green. I'll put a bit more out. So it may just remind you that's how I actually place the paint down. There we go. Hold the tube upright, and there's a Cotman's sap green here. Hold it upright, squeeze and drag. Gives me a nice thin paste to actually work with. Actually a different colour, because I just picked it up. Viridian Hue. Now sounds like a bespoke in London. Viridian Hue. What an excellent shoot, Mr. Jason. No, Viridian Hue. It's very rich green, but for this it may work okay. So that's what I'm trying. So they're the colours, guys. They're the colours. I'll put those to one side. I'm going to use, what have we got? I'm going to use Big Brian, no, Big Brian. Flat Phil, not used him for a while. He needs more airplay, so he's going to get some today. We've got Mini Dave. I may use Dangerous Dave. Miss Rigger, of course. Maybe even Big Brian. I'll try and get the old gang in. Yep. So I will name them as we go by. Absolutely, yes. The reason really for the start over the last, well, it's been, I think it's 8 or 10 weeks, was I was on a film course and I was supposed to go in to do this film course in a local place with a film director. But we couldn't go because of the lockdown and all that caper. So it was Zoom. So every Thursday I had to change times, and then I was on this course for several hours afterwards. But it was really fascinating, the analysis of films, and useful for me anyway. Right, okay guys, are we ready to rumble? Yeah, so for those about to do battle with looseness, good luck. We're all thinking of you. And let's see what we can do. Right, ready. Let's start with Mini Dave. Yep. So if you've not got the exact brushes, do not worry. Just use the nearest ones to them. I find for this approach to painting, synthetic ones tend to be better. They've got more spring for me. I don't want them slopping about too much. So mine are all synthetic, and that's why they get back into shape and hold the shape while you're actually placing and moving stuff about. Right, okay guys, let us start. We're going to start with the candle. Yeah, a little bit of water on Mini Dave, and we're going to put a little bit of water on the top, drag a little bit down, but not too much, just nice little reservoirs to dip into. We're going to go with, let's have a look, the top, a very weak lemon yellow. So let me just show you a little bit on the palette how I actually do it. Yeah. So I've got Mini Dave, put the water in. If I want it weak, agitate it and pull it away and mix it there. If you continually mix just there, it's always going to be thick stuff. You're not going to get it thinner. So move it away and agitate it there. So that's the beauty of doing this on a big space like this. Okay, so that's a weak lemon yellow. I'm just going to tap a little bit on the top there, on that ridge, because that's where the lights hit. And I'm going to be using the white paper, really is all the white that I need. Always do. A few little dobs here, because these could be light. That'll do. Yeah. Right, so now we've got, let's go for, yeah, a cad orange, but I'm going to drop a little bit of royal blue into it, so to make it a bit murky. We're looking for that sort of colour of a candle, you know, when it's not in full light. Right, okay. Dropping this down. Starting lower, so the further away from the light source, the darker the candle, but darkness in the realms of light to dark is not a big stretch in a light sense, if you get what I mean. Okay, so I drag this down, a few lines, dropping this on, there we go. There we go, dropping this round. Dragging it down, yeah. So even though the candle is white, light, transparent, it will still have some colour to it, some texture. How did I make that grey, Andy? Just bought a packet of grey, Jenny, a packet of grey, mix it with soup, no, not even soup, milk and water, no, I'm only kidding. It was royal blue and cad orange to a very weak mix. Yep, got that on. I'm going to drop a little bit of royal blue towards the bottom, again very weak, so it's actually getting darker the further down, but like I say, in a very limited strength. Gotcha, Oscar. We're on it. Candle done. Candle top. Now I'm going to start with a little bit of water at the top, not the bottom part. I'm going to drop in lemon yellow, literally drop it in to about halfway. The top part of that I'm going to put in cad orange. Right, top, we're going to drop in cad orange. Now if your small area is sort of saturated, just keep forcing more colour in. Lemon yellow, cad orange, you can see the difference there. Right, now we got a little bit of water on Mini Dave. I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to push some water up, yeah, towards the colour. And what's going to happen? The colour is going to jump into the water because it's just put its bathing costume on, and it's going to float down towards the bottom. Very weak, yeah? That's all you need. So that floats about, that's doing itself. Candle done. That was literally 4.8 seconds. I'm not sure what that is in centimetres, Susan, but if you could check for me, that would be fabulous. How many seconds is that in centimetres? Voila. Got that on. Right. Jolly good. Brush down. Time for a change of brush, I feel. Let us go with Big Brian. Yep. He's big and he's Brian. He's always been Brian. He's a good lad. Right, bottom. We're going to put some water down. Little dobs. I'm putting this down in a cross hatch fashion. I mean, just crosses really. You don't do cent. What do you do in? What's American measurements then over there? Hectares? Is it hectares? I'll have 2 hectares of cloth, please, to make a suit. Right, anyway, while we're on this, water down, Big Brian. We're going to go with coffee strength, cad orange. I'm just going to daub this down in the middle. You do inches still in. I mean, I thought you still did. Oh, you were metric. We still do both actually, don't we, Jenny? But I didn't realise that. You learn something every day. Cad orange, just tapped around here. The reason for that is the light hitting the foliage in this section. Blimey. Got that on. Right, second colour. Sap green. Boom. Yep. Boom. Lightly putting it on. Your ability with the brush will be one very useful thing. So you don't just plonk it down. The brush and your dexterity or consideration of the movement is very important, really. So don't be heavy with it all the time. So we've got that. Now let's go in with cobalt blue. A little bit stronger. Bottom edge. I'm just putting these on for a start. You see how basic I put this on. Then I use this as my reservoir of colour and I dip into it. It saves me that long journey over to the palette, and I can see what's happening. I can just pull this in. If I have to just place everything every time, it's a bit more, it leaves too many elements open. So got that on. Yep. Light, medium, dark. Dark, medium, light. Light, medium, dark. Everything is done in that same way. Because everything I do, guys, I do it for you. Yeah? Somebody ought to write a song like that. And what it's about is loose watercolours demonstrations. Okay, bit of tissue, pick a few bits of excess off, which you will get. Voila, voila. Put that to one side. Now, what have we got? Oh, I know. We were going to put some little red dots on, weren't we? Let us use, I'm going to use Mini Dave. So even though he is the shape he is, I can put a blob down and then move it around. Yeah. So in the centre, Rose Opera. Yeah. Then a bit further across, Cad Red. Don't do too many of them. If you have a little look at a holly bush or a Christmas type berry thing, you know, how do they grow? How do your berries grow? Eh? You don't hear that every day. But what it means is sometimes they're clumped together, sometimes they're individual, sometimes they're in twos. That's the information you're looking for. And then further away, alizarin crimson. So what have I done there, folks? What did you notice me doing? Yeah? What I did was light, medium, dark. Yeah? The berries were in that way of thinking all the time. Right, okay. So are we on it, guys? Are we on it? Right, Big Brian. Bit of water. Now what I'm going to do is get the background on. I'm not going right up to the candle. I'm going to start about here and here. So give it some width. Water down. Decent, not a decent amount of coverage, but gaps, always gaps. Not touching this at the bottom as yet. Then let's try flat fill. Yep. So we're going to start with lemon yellow. Flat fill, coffee strength. First thing I do is touch the paper. If it does that, i.e. moves about, I know I've hit the water. Then I can push it that way, I know I'm going to hit dry stuff, and that way it's going to be wet. It's like a roundabout, yeah. So dabbing that on. Same to the other side, bit across the top. That's wet stuff, that's dry. So you're just almost panning for gold. You're panning for the wet and dry area, just to let yourself know where it is. Cool. Got that on. So now we're going to go with a bit of Rose Opera again. Quite weak. Well, actually I'm going to say coffee. Drag a bit. Drag a bit. Down to the candle. Always be a few little taps. Call me Fred Astaire. No, actually I call myself Fred Astaire. Nobody's ever said that. My dancing is not my thing. Got that on. Now then, next colour, we're going to go with purple. Yeah, purple makes that sort of sound. And here, purple. Now it's a straight line for a start, but then I move it about. I don't drag it in too far because this will bleed in anyway. So if I take it in too far, it will get right up to the candly bit. So we got that on. Then I'm going to go with, let's go with cobalt at the bottom. Now, flat fill, nice straight lines. You can see where you're going with him. Pulling these shapes in. I'm leaving little glitches of white at the edges of some of these because it's really a suggestion that light's just catching those edges basically. But you can pull this into this colour here. Depending on the wetness of your paper, it may still just float in nicely, or it may be dry, but don't worry if it's dry, i.e. leaving an edge. A few little taps around some of the berries just to add a little bit of flavour. Got that on. Right, things we can do. I know, a little bit of green. I'm going to drop a little bit of sap green here, Mini Dave. Suggestion of foliage, leaves up there. Same here. Try and vary it, one there, one there, one there. So that's 3. So you do learn a little bit of maths as well in this broadcast. Got that on. Just floating about. Now, what we can do is quite interesting. Now, you can do this or not, totally up to you. I'm going to flick a little bit of water on. So I've got everything on, got water on this rigger. Just put that on, it just gives a little bit of texture. So it throws off what you've done already to a little degree. So we've got that on. I think just on the areas of foliage you put on there, a little bit of red, suggested berries. So they'll diffuse and go wherever they go, but you can keep popping back to them. Or you can leave them. The thing is just keep an eye on them, decide what Ginger Rogers, absolutely. Ginger Rogers and who was the other guy? Arnold Schwarzenegger. They were a famous couple of dancers. Ginger Rogers and Arnold Schwarzenegger, I believe. Right, only kidding guys. Fred Astaire, absolutely. Mini Dave, a little bit of water. Now this is white, but what I can do is just drag a bit of water over this, and this will gradually just pick up a little bit of the colour and bring it in. So again, it's the same effect as in other places. I can use the paint that's there already and not have to keep mixing it to a certain thickness and doing that. It's easier just to drag it about. Yeah, got that on. I quite like a little bit stronger at the top of the candle, so I'm going to put a little bit more cad orange in, bit there, and then I'm going to bleed that down with water again. So take the paint off, put a bit of water on, just bleed it down. Simple as ABD. Got that on. That area is still wet, that's semi-wet, that was dry, but I've re-wetted it. And also pulling a little bit of stuff over there, that allowed this area to be wet again. So got all that on, guys. Now what I want to do, the candle's a little bit flaked, a little bit flat, so I'm going to go back in with royal blue and a bit of cad orange, and I want to pull out a few shapes again. So underneath these melted areas of wax, I'm just offering a little bit of shadow. Can offer a little bit higher as well, but not much. maybe just under the rim in a couple of places. Then further down, drag a line. Put a bit more on. But do a few and then have a look at it. Don't just dive in and do 20. You're trying to be economical enough to tell the story of that particular bit. A little bit of royal blue on the edge of the brush I've got, which is quite nice. Maybe a bit more in the centre. Yep. So, got that on. A little bit of water just to move some edges off. Yeah, voila. Right, that's all on. Now, I'm going to pop back down the bottom again. So we keep visiting different areas. We don't just top to bottom or left to right. We go all over the place. Sorry, quick question from Janice there. What would be the best size watercolour paper for Christmas cards? Well, A5 and fold it, I would say. A4 is too big. A6 might be too small, but if you're using those sort of measurements for paper in the US or wherever you may be, I find it better if you get a full sheet, fold it in half and then paint on one half. Or the other method would be cut the actual image out and then stick it onto a good card that you can pre-buy card stock, as you say, but stick it onto the front of that. That'll give a bit of relief of the image, so you get a bit of design from the paper as well. Right, let's have a look what we got. A little bit of cad orange with a bit of sappy green. I'm going to try and chase out a few shapes. Are you ready to chase these shapes out, folks? Me too. There it is. So, two things you're trying to do here. And avert thine eyes, Janet, avert thine eyes. We're doing a little bit of negative painting here. Now, I don't make my own cards, but I used to design cards for greeting cards companies many moons ago. Don't do it anymore. And I used to go in the shops at Christmas and stand by some of my designs, see if anybody bought them. And they did. Right, so we've got that colour. Now we're chasing round berries, yeah, and trying to think of a few shapes of holly leaves. So you actually draw the holly leaf, and then the negative bit is that bit, the splodgy bit. So you're trying to combine the two shapes, round the berries and round the holly leaves. And I put the shapes on for a start, and then a little bit of water to run them off. Ah, good one, Janet. Good one. You can actually have them printed, can't you? So you can, yeah, just go on Tinternet and they will, there's plenty of printers on there. So if you're having a little batch done, that's good. Right, okay. Negative. And the trick here really is not to go around everything, just do a few. Otherwise you'll end up doing a tight painting with a loose approach. And some of these texturous shapes you get by throwing the paint on in this fashion are really the essence of it. They're fabulous, and you wouldn't think of painting them, but you look at it and think, yeah, I like that. I like all this down here. Whether it's clear as I can see it on the screen, I'm not sure, but in your own work you'll see things and you think, and do leave them. Just because they happened as an accident, that is irrelevant. So we're just doing, so the thing here is, with your little bit of negative painting, light colours in the centre to start with, medium, and then dark at the far edge. So every time you're sort of reiterating this light to dark effect. Just here you can just put a few lines because they will suggest things to the mind, imagination. And you're just pulling these berries out. So you don't have to do every shape as if it's, say, a holly leaf or a berry. Just little sections of it are quite sufficient. So I've got those shapes on. Now we're just going to use Miss Riggs. Now I'm just going to run water around some of these just to move them about a bit. Fill in a few gaps. Pull some colours together. Go a bit darker. So this is cobalt blue with a little bit of that viridian green. I've not overly used that, even though I said it was going to. So just picking these out. Just little berries there. A little bit of water, move some of these. Might push a little bit in front of the candle. There's a little starburst from where the water was thrown on. You see the explosion of light just going towards the back. Now I might darken a little bit around the bottom. So I've got ultramarine blue with a bit of purple. I'm just plonking this on. In some gaps. I'm going to go back and move this in a minute or less. Bye Anne-Marie, thank you for dropping by. So I've got this on, all these colours. Now I've just got water on the brush, Mini Dave. Now I'll move the water above the colours and then just drape or push the colour in to the water. So then I get a nice smooth edge. Same the other side. So if you put the water on quickly, you're not going to move it about. Yeah, so just gently placed on. Just where these leaves are, purported leaves, I'm just going to get the colour that's underneath, which is really a bit of light purple. I'm just going to waft a couple of shapes like that. So what that is, again, it is negative painting. That's picking out a leaf shape. Then underneath, I'm just going to drift off the colour. So out of something that's not there, I'm just picking out a shape. So that's a very easy thing to do, just pick out little bits like that. Drop some around here and maybe here. So they're all just very gentle, negatively painting that shape. If I left it like that, it'd be quite harsh. Bit of water underneath. Just negatively picks that out. Sorry to keep saying the word negatively, Janet. Negatively picking that out. Yep, so you can just gently pick the underside of a leaf out. Quite nice. Negatively one there. Negatively one there. Yep. Yep, so you see we've added that depth of colour in there, bringing everything forward. But we're not just diving in at the beginning, we're building it up just gently, really. Gently as a bloke could do. Right, a few little berry bits. Got Miss Rigger. I'm going to put some little bit of Cad Red in some of the berries. But I'm not just plonking it on. I'm either going to go that away or that away. Little highlight in reverse, so it's not lighter, it's darker. Do the same with these if you like. A little Toby, guardian of the watercolours. They've been barking all day. I have to keep going checking. So, we've got a visitor. What is it? Is it somebody delivering? No. Do you know what it was? Squirrels. It has a squirrel detector mechanism. But to be honest, if you had to face a squirrel square in the eye, he'd run off. He has this persona that when there's a little bit of glass in front of him, like a door, he's very brave. As soon as the door's open, ooh, sorry, Mr. Squizzer. Right, just one more bit of shadow, bit of cobalt this time, so quite dark. Just under a couple of these. And I might drag some of that blue through some of this foliage at the bottom, so it extends the candle down into the thicket. Tiny bit on that ridge again, just tiny bits. Oh, I know what I need. A wick. Yeah, it's I think it's a dog thing, isn't it? We have, if anything comes on the telly with dog related or even animal related, he springs off and runs to the telly, but he's so small he can't get there, so he's jumping about. So I quickly turn over to the shopping channel. I presume there'll be no dogs on there. That throws him off. Right, okay. Miss Rigger, wick. Your wick's there. Don't just do a straight line. A little bit down, a little bit back, then a little bit in. Yeah, and maybe just a little bit broken at the top bit of the wick. And what you could also do is just have a tiny little shadow just here, falling down the top bit of the candle, and that's almost a shadow reflected from the burning candle, picking up the wick and doing a 180 with the shadow of the wick. Yeah. So all of this just very gently done, really. You can put a little bit of suggestion of detail on a few leaves if you like. So they're fairly nondescript down the bottom, but maybe a centre here and there. Tiny bits. So the subtlety really can work very nicely. So that's the thing about the brushwork. It's just being gentle with it for a start. A little bit more orange, cad orange, just at the top. Bring that down a bit. Then I'm going back in with water, brush some of this down, just strengthen it up a bit. I think it might be a little bit orange near the wick as well, the top of the wick, just there. Yeah, it could be. You can put it on if you don't like it. You can do one of two things, remove it or cry. I tend to remove it. That's okay. Yeah, okay. So all of that just glowing, doing its own thing. A berry somewhere. It's enough. Might drop a little bit of white on. And they are really just dots, little taps, but I'm still creating that shape, just going round. So I'm not just plonking it on again. Go to the edge of the berry and then follow the shape round. Little highlights. And your highlights are really going to be more, well, think about where the light is. This side, this side. That's where it's going to pick it up. So all gently done. You could as well, if you want to, add a little bit of white back in. I've only started using white again purely because you can do a few little shortcuts with it. You know, technically I wouldn't advise it all the time, but it's just little bits. And sometimes you get these nice scraping effects with the white. Little lines down. Give a little bit of texture. So you've got to do quite a bit of pre-planning for that. So sometimes you think later on, oh actually that would have been nice. So it works in a very nice way just to do that. And as I've said before, the joy of all this is in the painting. It's not about right and wrongs. Really, creativity, again, as I've said, is everything is valid. And the main thing is your enjoyment of the producing of the work, really. That's the first port of call. If you get enjoyment out of it, that's it. If somebody else likes it, that's nice, and if you sell it, that's nice. But there's no point labouring over it for hours and days and weeks and not enjoying it. This is a hobby interest that can bring fantastic rewards, particularly at the moment. Sort of mental well-being, very important. And this can really help. So if you know people who are struggling a little bit, suggest just pick a paintbrush up, just throw a bit of paint about. Hopefully it'll make them feel a little bit better, feel more in control, feel as if they're being productive, and that's quite a useful thing. And that could be the thing that helps people out more than anything. A few little lines in there. I quite often put stuff in just to see what it looks like. And that again for me, it's, I don't know, I'm trying. You try things all the time. And ultimately you get a collection of things that really work for you. And that's your kit. Your kit doesn't have to be physical things. Your kit should be as well. Your mental approach. How do you go about these subjects? How do you create these different looks? And that's your mental approach each time that really works. So anyway, guys, there it is after a couple of tries this evening. So thanks for a long journey this evening. It's been great, rewarding. And we got there in the end. So resilience, keep going, and you'll get there. So Candle, guys, as I say, this is exclusive on Patreon. It'll be on YouTube until tomorrow. So if you do want to have a go, dive in, do it a few times so you've had a go and you've learned the little skills. Basic things, very basic shapes for a start. Started with a candle. Light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, that way. Same here, the light is here, gets darker, berries, darker, all things light to dark. Bringing the colour in later rather than starting here and working back, leaving a nice gap and using your water to move that about. delicate little leaves in the background, just undercutting them to give a bit more suggestion of what they are. Colours, again, you can change these. I wouldn't throw too many in, and always look for ones that are going light to dark. That's all. And then here you've got a ridge and you start again. So there we go, guys. Oh, one last thing I forget most times, but I'm duly reminded, and I thank you for that. Little signature, why not? Let's go for a berry red. Yeah, it's Christmas red. So always sign your work. So you're proud of it. People know what you did and you did it. So this is always yours. And if you give it as a gift for Christmas, absolutely fantastic. Better to give than receive. So well done, guys. Thanks again for joining in. Like I say, if you want to pop over to Patreon to have a look at my stuff, it's a subscription. No, it's a support site really for my work, but there's quite a lot of videos on there now for my supporters. And there's also my teaching channel, which is loosewatercolours.com. And I think there may be a link, well, there's plenty of links about. So if you're interested in learning the style as well, there's plenty on there. Always good to see you guys. Do take care. Have a glass of wine for me and a dance. And we shall meet again very, very soon. Goodbye.